Good morning, Japneet. How are you?
Uh, I'm good, Rakesh. Thanks for asking, and I hope you are doing well.
Yes, absolutely fine. So, first of all, many congratulations to you as you have received many offers from various companies, right? And thank you
Yeah.
for coming to our channel for sharing your success story. So, would you like to share what were the interview rounds and what were the technical questions asked in those companies? You can share your screen if you want.
Okay. Sure. I'm just sharing my screen. Let me know once like it's visible for
Yes,
you.
sure. Yes, screen is visible.
Yeah. So it's like there are two technical rounds,
Mhm.
and then one is the managerial round, and then like one is HR, in which like we have the salary discussion. So like every company, like I mentioned the names. So in these like two are the technical rounds. Like first will it's like first we need to clear. Then if we are not able to clear, then elimination will be there, and then we need to clear the second one. And after the second technical, we'll go to the managerial one.
Right.
So it's like that. So like I have given like interview for like
Okay.
manual
Can
as well
you,
as
yeah, can you maximize? Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Can you maximize the file? Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
So like I have given interview for like the profile of manual testing as well as automation.
Mm.
Also like in Cement, I have given for complete automation profile, and for Optum also like it's complete automation. Other than that, like in TCS, Genpact, and Ecolite Digital, it's like manual plus automation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And how many total years of experience you have?
Right now it's 2 years, 4 months.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And it is completely in manual or completely in automation or mix of both?
Actually, complete is manual for 2 years, 4 months, and automation is 1 year, 8 months.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so these were the questions that were asked for manual testing. STLC, yes.
STLC is like very famous right now. Like actually, they ask about STLC like with the documentation, like what will be the entry criteria documents, and then what will be the exit criteria documents. So like that we need to prepare, and then they will be focusing upon like the TDD, then BDD and ATDD. So they ask about that as well, like what will be the approach, and like how we need to like. Actually, for my role, they are hiring me for like senior profile. So like they need to ask, they need to know like how will I proceed with that if they're following a different framework in that. So it's like that. And like yesterday only, like I have received this like pesticide paradox. One of the interviewer was asking me. So this is like something new for me, and I encountered. Like I have given around 15 plus interviews till now. So this was a new term. Then like for testing, there is like ad hoc, monkey, gorilla, exploratory, smoke and sanity. Actually, we need to know the difference as well in this. And for all these three as well, we need to know the difference. Like what will be the approach and what is the difference between them. Then like for dynamic and static testing, they also need to know about like verification and validation. And like for testing, what will be like it's verification that we do in testing or it's validation. So we need to know the difference in that. And there is a difference in like bug, error, defect, and failure. And when like a tester is reporting a defect, so is that a defect or like a bug? So we need to know like what will be the cycle in that. So defect report and in defect report, we need to know like what will be the fields and like fields, and then we need to explain about the defect management cycle as well if they are going to ask. So we need to know that. Test plan the fields, and what will be the like in agile model we are not preparing the test strategy document. So what all fields that we can include in the test plan, we need to know that as well. So because in they will be asking us like in test strategy document, we don't prepare that now in agile because of shorter sprints. So for that we need to know. And in RTM, like RTM, like we have to prepare the test plan. they have asked me like when we prepare the RTM, like it's in requirement analysis phase or like test planning. So actually, I have given the answer in like we prepare it in test plan. So it depends upon the organization, but the actual correct answer is like we prepare it in requirement analysis phase. So the interviewer like told me. So there are like forward, backward and bidirectional traceability. We need to know that. Then it's like interface testing. In interface testing, like it's client side, server side, and database side. So we need to know both. And like we can also switch off the client side validation. So in that, like we need to like switch off the JavaScript execution. Then we will be having the server side validation. We need to know that as well. And why do we need server side validation? That also we need to know. And why do we need client side? Because like one of the interviewer asked me this question like if we are having server side validation, then why do we need the client side validation? So because of like server side validation will become like performance issue will be there if like that. So that is the question.
Right, right. Absolutely. Good thing.
Yeah, yeah. And integration testing, it's like non-incremental and incremental, the types and the difference. Then in UAT, like for my current organization, I've also like given some of the handoffs with the onshore teams, like it's in US. So they ask me about that. How will you give that? So it depends upon like your resume. This question is depends upon the resume only. Then priority and severity, we need to like know at least two examples, because what is happening is now they like understand the first example, but they need to know like if the candidate is able to like form a new example at that place only.
Mm,
So at least two examples you need to prepare. And then regression testing, what is it and how we prepare the regression testing cases for like automation as well as manual. Then testing techniques will be like error guessing, boundary analysis, and equivalence class partitioning. So they are going to like give you a new scenario over in the interview itself. So you need to like choose a correct technique and then like prepare the test cases. This is for manual testing.
mm,
Then risk mitigation, they've asked me like how will you plan and what will be the backup like you will be preparing. So it's like that. Then
mm,
authentication and authorization, they have asked me like what is the difference and how will you handle it in like manual testing. Then defect cycle and the deferred state, they have asked me like what is deferred state and how like what will be the defects and how will you decide the priority. So the priority is not decided by us, it will be decided by the PO or BA. So we need to answer in that way. Hot fix and patches they ask. Then defect age, it's like basically the defect, the age, the date on which the defect is raised
mm,
and the defect closure date. So we need to answer in that way.
mm.
Then test closure report, it is like mainly related to manual testing.
Correct.
In like in TCS I have been asked this, and then in Optum UHG they've asked me this, but not in other companies. Error seeding, like they have asked me like they also like given me one of the application to test, like it was error. There were a lot of errors in that, so they were asking me like how will you test the performance and how will you like go through that. So that is it. And then showstopper defect and suspension criteria, they have written like both. So like these terms in the interview itself. And then QA QC and testing difference. Then I've written like TDD BDD and ATD like difference and what will be the approach. Then latent defect, mask defect, and defect clustering. For defect clustering, this was asked in TCS. They were
Mhm.
like very focused upon this because I had at that time like I was not aware about this term.
Okay.
Although I knew that like it's like we club the defects, but I was not aware about this particular term. So you can learn about this. Important.
Mhm.
Then it's like defect rejection ratio and defect leakage ratio. They've asked me in like I think like in all the companies I have been asked this.
Mm.
This is very important. Then bug release and bug leakage. A/B testing is in A/B testing, like we can give an example of like Facebook application. So like they release two versions separately for a particular population or like a group of people. So in that way, like we can give an example of this A/B testing. And then we have like concurrency testing. So like we are testing a similar feature with the different people at the same time. So it's like that. And then some of the behavioral questions they've asked me, like how to handle high priority release in short time, how to handle project without documentation, then how to approach test planning for a effect. Yeah. So this is like most of the manual testing concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've written some of the Java programs as well. I like for Java, some of the companies also focus upon like 2D metrics, 3D metrics like that. But for those companies, I have directly asked them I don't have that much experience. So
Mm-hmm.
like they focus upon because like in 2 years I don't think like we can have that. So
Yes, absolutely.
that's it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah. So then like string programs are very important. So they ask like reverse uppercase letter, like we need to retrieve uppercase letters from that lowercase letters or special characters like that. Then retrieve words from the sentence, like regex we can use that, like split function, and then we can retrieve the sentences. And then unique substring, it's they have asked me like to print duplicate substrings as well as like a unique substring. They have given me a sentence in which multiple hellos are there and only one word is there. So we need to retrieve the word from that. Like that they have given me. So like it's important. It's also on lead code. If you can like find, then there is a problem on lead code as well for this. Then like for array manipulation, like add array elements, like they have given me an array, then we need to add all the numbers, and given the like using for loop we can find the sum of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like reverse number actually, we actually do use the for loop in like we can do that, or like use while loop in that. But like they have also asked me to like use the reverse function
Okay.
in one of the interviews.
Uh-huh.
Like they wanted to know like if I know that or not. So like I have understood like we can also as user approach, like first we can use the reverse function, and then if they ask, then we can start with the while loop and perform that.
Yes.
So basic hash map manipulations, they have asked me like we need to find a duplicate number, and the counter should be there. So like the key will be unique, and then we can increment the value. So they have
Right.
asked me in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then count number of letters in a string, then count number of elements in an array, calculate duplicate characters, Fibonacci series, factorial of a number is also important. They asked that. Even an odd number, then prime numbers, palindrome of a number and string. Check if array contain element, string, and number. Like particular number they will send, and then we need to find that if that exists or not. A swap number without third variable.
Mm-hmm.
Track duplicate if element already exists. Like basically they will give you an array in which like we need to track that if that number is occurring or not. If the moment it will occur, we need to pop array like error, or we can use system.out.println. In that way like we can do.
Correct.
Then count only alphabet, special characters, and digits. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then count vowels. Then split string, like we can use the regex function in that. So we need to know that. Largest values, second largest, and smallest. So they've given me a one single program in which like I need to find all this. This was asked in TCS, Accolade Digital, and Optum UHG. And then we need to extract last four characters in a string. Suppose like they have given me a like char array or like a string. So
Mm-hmm.
in that like I need to found the four last characters.
Mm-hmm.
This is like for theory of Java. String
Okay.
objects and string literals, creation in memory. So like they need to like they went into in depth for that, like string constant pool and heap memory, how the object will be created and how they are stored. So like they in TCS and Optum UG they have asked me properly like if we have like string s1 equal to hello, then again string s1 s2 equal to new string like this we are creating an object.
Mm-hmm.
Then how will it work in the memory? So like they have asked me like this. Then string
Mm-hmm.
buffer and string builder, static variables, methods and classes, how they work, and we need to know like for classes like in subclasses like how it is working in subclasses, interface and abstract classes, and use like how we are using in automation.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to give example.
Right, right.
Then instance variable, local variable, and how they're working.
Mm-hmm.
Constructors, they ask like they have also asked me like why interfaces cannot have constructors.
Okay.
Yeah. So like we don't have static members in the interface. So like how, we don't need to initialize any non. So it is used to like initialize non-static members.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, I need to give the answer. Hash map sets list array. They will like ask the theoretical way. Like we need to like have the understanding how it is working. Then primitive types and non-primitive types, and then like they will ask also ask like why Java is not 100% object oriented. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like due to Java supports primitive types. Like that we can give the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Typecasting, it's like implicit and explicit, auto-boxing, unboxing. Then this and super keyword, like they will ask the code sometimes to write.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then oops on said like inheritance, encapsulation, all the like so polymorphism and abstraction. Also, like one of the company have also asked me like aggregation in that. Like we need to know like is a and has a relationship difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and finally difference. Then
Okay. Those
they will ask me
differences.
like yeah, so they have also asked me like why we need to have an exception class at the end in the catch block. Why we do that in this way?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
So as per
we need to
best
have that
practices, we need
understanding.
to follow.
And this,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So static binding and dynamic binding, runtime polymorphism. I've like clubbed all of them together. So like
Mm-hmm.
it's like related. So that is why.
Correct. Correct.
Then why we cannot have private static void main,
Mm-hmm.
why we cannot have this, and why we need to have like public in this.
Public.
Ask me this. Yeah. And can main method be overloaded, and if it is overloading, then which method will be used?
Mm-hmm.
Access modifiers, like they've asked me like how will they work in packages, different
Mm-hmm.
packages, and how like default and public private how they work. Throw and throws difference, and why we use throws in like method signature, like that they've asked me. Continuous and break, they have asked me like how will it work, like within a follow they have given me a question in which like they have given continue and break in different questions. How will it execute? They've asked me like this. Understanding of loops with implementation automation code is very important. And like they've asked me like some of the companies in which like I've given interview, they've asked me like to write the automation code like in IntelliJ or whatever like code editor we are using. So we need to like write the code and explain them like how the loop will work, like that. And then Selenium, in Selenium, like they ask like get and navigate difference, close and quit difference, assertions. And they will also like ask us like why we are using assertions in test class and not in like object classes, page classes. So we need to explain that it's a best practice we need to write in test classes, that frameworks, like it depends upon the resume like how many frameworks you have worked upon. Like POM and BDD I have worked, so they will ask that. Localization and globalization testing using auto like so they have
Automation.
asked me
Okay.
yeah, so they have asked me they've asked me like to write a XPath, like a particular website was given, then it was translated into English to Spanish language. Then how will you like locate the element? And XPath should be generic, basically we need to find. It should not like depend upon the text, like that they've asked me. Then scenario and scenario outline difference, it's like related to Cucumber. It's hooks, it is also related to Cucumber, like what is hooks and how will it work. Then WebDriver driver equal to new Chrome driver, like we need to explain each keyword and the use. Then why WebDriver is used, why not Firefox or Chrome. So actually they've also asked me like JavaScript executor is a interface. So if we are using WebDriver in that, then we need to cast it to the JavaScript executor. And if we are using Chrome driver, we don't need to cast it. Why we need to do that? So we need to explain that it's an interface, and like that we need to approach.
Okay. Right.
Then it's a question from your video only. They have asked me script working in night, but next day it's not working. What will be the reasons? So I've actually gone through your video only. Then like I have given the answer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that. And then cross browser testing and differences. They've asked me how what differences you have observed. Then a difference in thread dot split, fluent wait, explicit and implicit wait. Then all the classes like actions, select, alert, and like how they work and the methods in them. Chrome
Right.
options, like they've asked me like some of the websites have a disable notification pop-up. So like how will you use that? So we need to create a Chrome options, then add arguments and then mention disable notification in that. So like that. XPath, XPath is like important, and they can also like make us to write that. To like they have given in one of the companies I've given, like they have mentioned a web table is given. Then we need to like go through a like checkbox depending upon the text we have. So like that we need to like we need to use like parent relation, and then we need to use a falling sibling like TRTD we need to switch. So like that they've asked me. And why captcha and OTP is not automated. Desired capability uses in framework. This is like they like asked me in theory way only, not code.
Mm-hmm.
Switch to third window, third child window. They've like asked me like using iterator, also like using while loop,
Mm-hmm.
frames and how to switch in frames. Refresh page in different ways. They have asked me. Types of exception with examples, and then like checked and unchecked exceptions. They have asked like it's related to Java, and then JavaScript executor get element, click element, highlight element, and scroll within an element. I need to like
Mm-hmm.
so they have asked me this.
Mm-hmm.
Then take screenshot. Need to like explain the interface, and for failed test cases, we can use like iTest listeners. Then why we are using iTest listeners? Then and where does it belong? Like it belongs to Selenium or like TestNG? Like that they ask.
Okay.
What is DOM? And in DOM, why we are having the stale element exception?
Mm-hmm.
WebDriver architecture, latest and old, like they ask about JSON wire protocol as well, and the latest standard like this started from 4. Then how to handle SSL security pop-ups. So like this, like we can send in driver.get. They've asked test ng priority. They actually I didn't knew that test ng priorities can also be negative. So they have asked me this question, and they were asking like if it is a negative priority, then how will it execute? And they have also asked like if the priorities are same, then how will the execution will happen? So it happens in
Okay.
alphabetical order.
Okay.
Parameters like invocation count depends on method. Also, like they've asked like exception we can use in that, and then particular exception will be thrown, like that they've asked. Test ng XML and integration with POM. Maven understanding. Like if you have used, then they will ask like profiling question. Like TCS have asked me profiling question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jenkins. It depends upon the resume. Like you have mentioned Jenkins or not. So if
Mm-hmm.
you have mentioned, then they can ask like Git about Git, and as well as like how to create the project, like that. They have also like some of the company also asked about CI/CD pipeline, but I didn't have that much experience in that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, meta groups. It is a actually new term for me. I didn't like encounter.
Mm-hmm.
So meta groups is like a group of groups in TestNG. So they asked me about that and how to handle AJAX calls. Like we need to use explicit wait in that. Context node. It's like related to XPath. Then exception test in Selenium. API testing. It depends upon the resume only. So I
Mm-hmm.
had that and I explained them.
Okay.
So then like questions are completed. We need to have like agile understanding. Yeah, so that is it. Most of the questions were like this.
Okay. Great. Great. So this is good that you have added, no? Explain about meetings in your introduction itself. so as to make sure
Yeah,
they don't ask about agile in an interview question.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, actually, I have encountered this like every company has their own procedure. Like they ask questions for you won't like explain them in earlier only. So I started to like do this
Mhm.
in my introduction only, so they don't ask it like later stages.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So how much time did you took to prepare about these interviews? Or any specific dedicated time you kept for applying for jobs and preparation? How did you what was your success mantra?
So actually, I resigned in like 31st January
Mm,
this year only.
okay.
So I have to like serve 60 days notice period. At that time, I didn't have any offers in hand. I resigned like without any offer. So like in Feb, I have prepared until 15th February, and then like I started to give interviews. Actually, I was like already been part of like automation learning. I've been doing automation learning like from past 6 months. So then like I started to give interviews like that.
Okay, great. So you prepared all these things in almost 15 days, from 31st January to 15th of Feb, and then you were able to get it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, okay. And how did you apply for the jobs? Did you use LinkedIn or Naukri.com?
Yeah, actually, in my case, like it's very different because actually what happened is like I also prepared Naukri profile as well as the LinkedIn one, but I was getting more response on LinkedIn rather than like Naukri. It's like different for people. People are getting more response on Naukri. So it was like actually companies were also like approaching me on LinkedIn. Like I mentioned, like my notice period is left for 30 days, 35 days, like that. So they started to approach me, like asking like, can you give the interview like that?
Perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Japneet, for sharing, such a wonderful set of questions with us. Is it possible to share this notepad file, maybe in an email or whichever way you are convenient with, so I can upload it on my channel as well?
Yeah, sure. I'll send via email only. Like I revert to the email like which you have sent.
Yeah, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you would like to add?
So it's like whatever questions I have prepared, it's like
Mhm.
related to your YouTube channel only. Like I have seen all the videos, like every interview video I've gone through, like past 2 years as well.
Mhm.
So I've learned like I was like sitting in night. I was not watching movies. I was watching your videos.
Oh,
It was like that. So I've learned a lot from your videos. So your channel is very great, and it's like that is why like that is the reason like I wanted to like share this.
mm.
So it like very great thing. Thank you so much for like supporting the community.
Right, right. No, no, it's all because of your hard work and efforts. Actually, if you would not have, put all your efforts, so the interview questions that we are asking in videos, those are also real-time interviews. But then it is up to the people how they face the interviews and how they answer for them. And actually, preparation is also very important. So you actually sacrificed your time for watching movies or series, and then you are, having passionate for learning, and that's why
Yeah.
you are over here. And I think you have cleared almost you have got 7 to 8 offers, right? So that is a wonderful thing to
Yeah.
have it, right? So all the best for your career. Yeah, keep growing and be in touch, right?
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.